welcome to the show. Before we get started, please like and subscribe the channel. Helps us to know what sort of content you're enjoying and to create more of that type of content. Okay, so that makes sense. But let's dive right in and do a follow-up on the Jaguar story now that we have more visuals on what the new car will look like. Too big of a departure? The experts' verdict on Jaguar's electric car launch. Jaguar has finally unveiled its much hyped Type electric car at launch at Miami Art Week. A teaser video for the marketing campaign released on social media a fortnight ago, that's 2 weeks for the Americans, had split opinion. Here, industry experts, have been giving their verdict on the car, its launch and marketing. So under that copy nothing mantra that they're following, let's take a look. Jeff Dodds, former marketing director at Honda, now chief executive of Formula E, in which Jaguar competes. He says, "I've recently owned a Jaguar I-Pace. A really good car, but it didn't make me smile. And that's what I want from a car. Jaguar knows that too. If Jaguar's intention was to guarantee attention on the launch, then they certainly achieved it. There was proper buzz waiting for the reveal, and I know some of the guests were desperately hoping for the unveiling of some hideous monstrosity. And of course it wasn't hideous, but it is seriously different. It's much bigger, bolder, and more disruptive than I imagined. It will turn heads. Not everyone will like it, but I say thank God for that. Inspector Morse wouldn't go near it, but if his grandson has just launched a cybersecurity startup, then he might." The event is completely different too. It's industrial and edgy. The British grime MC and rapper Skepta wouldn't be a traditional Jaguar brand ambassador. Yet, here he is performing a DJ set surrounded by influencers and cultural tastemakers in downtown Miami. It's a massive departure from what's gone before. Too big of a departure? Maybe. But Jaguar was quickly becoming a brand talked about in the past tense, so I applaud them. If I drove this car, I think it would make me smile. Let's take a look at what Gina Buckley said. She's the founder of the British EV buying website electrifying.com. In Jaguar's 90-year history, nothing has sparked as much global conversation as its controversial rebrand. But the new logo and flamboyant ad might be forgotten now with the dramatic Type car has a broken cover. I first saw the car in a briefing at Jaguar Land Rover's Midland Design Studio, and in more than 25 years as a motoring journalist, no vehicle has made my jaw drop like this 100,000-pound plus all-electric GT. It's very expensive indeed. Yes, it's pink, very pink, unveiled in Miami pink and London blue, whatever London blue is. The car's colors reflect the city that hosted its reveal to the world in Jaguar's British heritage. The color is inevitably what many critics will be fixating on. I was told by Jaguar's design team that it's a production-ready color, which could cause a stir among traditional Jaguar fans if it makes the final palette. Beyond the color, the Type design is dramatic with its elongated bonnet, massive monolithic grille, and front hinged butterfly doors, while Jaguar has also ditched the rear window. In the States, we'd call that the hood, the car's hood. In the UK, they call it the bonnet. And I think they're calling the car Type 00. Leave a comment if that's correct or I'm getting it wrong. She says, I think the Type 00 looks fresh and bold. My 15-year-old says it looks peak, which I think is a compliment. With Gen Z slang, we never really know what they mean anymore. Sometimes something is riz, or they use terms like cap or no cap, and other phrases. Let's move on. The Jaguar chief creator, Jerry McGovern, said, it will make people feel uncomfortable and it will polarize, which of course it will. But if the aim was to get people talking, they've succeeded. Everyone's been talking about this for the past couple of weeks since the ad was launched. The challenge is whether Jaguar can evolve its brand quickly enough to attract the new breed of young, wealthy buyers it hopes will buy this car. It's a lot of money, £100,000. Let's look at what Manfredi Ricca said. Global Chief Strategy Officer at the brand consultancy Interbrand, who has worked with Bugatti and on the relaunch of Mini and BMW. We all remember when Mini came out with the Cooper, right? And turned the brand into this sort of zippy, fast car, Italian job type thing. Let's see what Manfredi said. Flashback to 2 weeks ago. Nobody's particularly interested in Jaguar. Out of the blue, a 30-second video is released. Millions immediately turn their heads. In the space of 24 hours, Jaguar is part of the global conversation, having shown no product. As a result, the level of anticipation for the new lineup builds up to World Cup final levels in terms of reach and intensity, including a leak on the eve of the launch. You can hardly ask more of a campaign, especially one designed to revitalize the brand. Because what so many commentators have overlooked is that Jaguar Land Rover wasn't trying to evolve a thriving brand, but reinvent an ailing one. Today's reality is that the number of people celebrating Jaguar's heritage far surpasses those actually wanting its cars. Museums can live on the past alone. Commercial businesses can't. They must turn whatever heritage they have into something that a sufficient number of customers can be willing to pay enough for. Jaguar, once the fiercely innovative maker of some of the world's most original cars, is back, asking to be loved by some rather than ignored by most. The concept revealed in Miami will seduce them, but the real challenge will lie in turning them into fans in 2025 and customers in 2026, when the cars will actually hit the market. Let's take a look at what Richard Exton said. He's the co-founder of the ad agency Joint, who has previously worked with Audi and Range Rover. Jaguar is to be applauded for the scale of ambition in its rebrand. A complete break from the past is its best bet. It wants to sell its brand new range of cars to a completely different audience, so aiming to be a more modern, inclusive, and challenging brand has the potential to be a winning strategy. But intent by itself is insufficient in the plan, as it poorly executed as the derivative and disappointing video content Jaguar released before the launch. Happily, though, the concept car images have a bold new aesthetic that forces a welcome degree of reappraisal. So the next big question is how much of the concept's radical design will make it into the final product that's manufactured and available to purchase. Very few car brands with Jaguar's problems get a second chance. So let's hope the company holds its nerve, recovers from the video misstep, and dares to be as different as it says it wants to be. Very interesting topic here. One to watch in all things PR, branding, marketing, etc. I've debated this with some siblings who said, hey, let's wait and watch and see, maybe this is the right direction. Others have jumped online and lambasted the change in direction and said, this is a complete and utter failure. From my perspective, it's very interesting to see the images of the new car. From the front, it does give off that somewhat animalistic, Jaguar-esque feeling with the very thin cat-like eyes and the grille. The narrow windshield somewhat reminds me of a Dodge Challenger, emulating a Mustang, sort of the American muscle car space with the long hood. So that's a very interesting take. And the fact that they've removed the window, the rear view, is also interesting. So if you're hoping to purchase and drive this car in 2026, gone are the days of turning your head and putting your arm behind the passenger seat and looking over your shoulder while you're backing up or reversing your car. You're solely going to be relying on the in-system cameras that are showing you behind the vehicle. I find that even though I've driven cars that have a front-facing camera, even side cameras, and a rear-view camera, I find myself always not fully trusting the camera, but also looking over my shoulder, the old-school way, and using my eyes. I find that, if I'm trusting on the rear-view camera and I do back up into something, I'd have nobody to blame but myself. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. This is very interesting as we come to the close of 2024 and head into the new year of 2025. It would be interesting to see how this develops. So, head over to Samson King, right? buymeacoffee.com/Samson King to make a small donation. As always, like and subscribe. And thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.